Okay, here are three choices. The Story of the Butterfly, Jimmy Ison's song, or the pictures of the actual buildings. Those are the three choices I wrote.
Can I say something here?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Okay, now, we can start with my butterflies opening, and then from there we can go, and then we can talk about other things.
Actual buildings.
The buildings?
Yeah.
That'd be better that way.
That's a good
The way
idea.
here, we know.
Yeah.
We know because we already in the film anyway, you know?
The buildings.
Buildings?
Okay, let's put that up on the timeline. Are there building photographs?
Yeah, they
There
are.
are a lot of photographs.
tons
Okay,
of
why don't
Definitely
you pick
building
out the
photographs.
photograph?
The Rhode Island School for the Feeble-Minded opened in January 1908, when Dr. Joseph Ladd and 8 teenage boys moved into a farmhouse in the town of Exeter. The institution was renamed the Exeter School and later the Joseph Ladd Center before closing its doors in 1994. The intervening 86 years contain a story of good intentions twisted by misconceptions, of erroneous theories leading to indifference, neglect, and abuse. But it's not a simple story. Villains are hard to identify, and there were many who struggled to improve conditions at the institution. Finally, it is a story that is remarkably similar to the stories of other state institutions throughout the country.
If I had been born 30 or 40 years earlier, I probably would have ended up as a resident at Ladd or a similar institution. But I was lucky. Things are much better today. Unfortunately, there are many who still attach a stigma to those of us with so-called developmental disabilities. For instance, most people would doubt that individuals like myself and Maggie and Joey and Jimmy could produce a competent and thoughtful film about the tortured history of Ladd School. Well, we are going to prove those people wrong.
Hi, my name is Jim Wolpaw, and I'm co-directing Best Judgment along with Bob Mako. And I guess you could say I'm one of those people that's already been proven wrong. You see, I was originally planning on directing the film myself. I was going to argue that the abuses at Ladd and other institutions were a direct result of the pervasive stigma that attaches itself to people with developmental disabilities, and that stigma, while less pervasive today, still exists. That was before I met this guy sitting next to me. Bob was speaking to a group of students at Rhode Island College, and he mentioned very casually, the way you might mention your eye color, that he had Down syndrome. And that jolted me because, you know, isn't Down syndrome something that you whisper about, something to be pitied? That's when it struck me that I was part of the stigma problem and that I really wasn't qualified to make this film, not without a lot of help.
Sammy Smalley, Keith Wilcox, Bill Guy, and Scott Hopkins are filming and conducting interviews. They are being assisted by Neil Klein and Michelle LeBron. Michelle and Dean Gagney are producing the film. Jim and I are co-directing.
Former Ladd residents Jimmy Isom, Joe Sabo, and Sue Bean are serving as co-producers and advisors to the project.
We have a lot of work to do.
In addition to continuing research, we plan to interview all the former Ladd residents who are willing to appear on camera.
My mother brought me there because she didn't know how to take care of me.
As well as a number of former Ladd employees.
So my first day refused to give an injection until I got forceps to use.
We will speak with social historians and politicians, including, hopefully, Rhode Island Governor Lincoln Chafee.
Assignment would take me to Ladd School out of the Office of Mental
And then, of course, we need to put it all together in a polished, professional manner.
Our goal is to produce a film that will change people's perceptions about individuals with developmental disabilities.
We are now asking for your help in raising the funds needed to achieve this goal. Thank you.
And this terrific story about this butterfly. What happened was, this butterfly came out of nowhere. It was coming closer and closer and closer. And then I identified it. It was an orange and polka dotted monarch butterfly. And guess where it landed? He landed on this shoulder. Now, when he landed on that shoulder, I had stood very, very quiet. I didn't want to make him nervous. Then he tickled my neck, and then he flew away. But when he flew away, I said to myself, I said, someday I'm going to get my freedom.